I'm Professor Andrew Mallett, and I'm the Director of Clinical Research here at Townsville Hospital and the Professor of Medicine for the facility from James Cook University. I'm a clinician scientist, a JCU medical graduate, and someone who's trying to make a difference. Your career, I think, as a clinician researcher has all of those different elements of both looking after people, finding answers for how you diagnose them, treat them, and understand their conditions. And in all of that, bringing together those attributes, I think really caring for people and wanting to realise better outcomes for them and your broader community, but also to try and advance things so that your colleagues and future generations of clinicians can also provide better care, is really the major motivation as to why you do this career pathway. And why do you do that here, and why do you do it in the space that I do? It is an incredibly, I think, complicated pathway, but it's been great fun, and I think that's the other important thing. At the end of the day, it has to be fun, and I've had a great time doing what I do. You know, reflecting on your proudest moments is so hard because there are so many points in time across so many different domains that you're immensely proud of. Both in terms of personal achievement, but also collective achievement as part of, teams, both locally at a state level, nationally, and, occasionally even internationally as well. I think the things that stand out are my children, immensely proud of them, and, they arrived at a time where both my wife, who's also a JCU graduate and a renal physician, was completing her training, as well as when I was completing my PhD, and that's a complicated series of things, and I was, I think really proud of that we got through that, and that they are just, a fantastic reflection of us. Sometimes great, sometimes not, always entertaining. I think other things that I'm really proud of were, I think, taking the big and courageous leaps in your career, and there's been a number of those. One of them was leaving North Queensland to go and do training elsewhere. I think that was a very courageous leap to do. It was absolutely the right one for me in terms of my career. I think then also taking a leap and going on a Churchill Fellowship to go overseas, where I was this little boy from the suburbs in Brisbane who suddenly landed at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge in the United Kingdom, and they were wonderful in every possible way, and that wasn't something I ever expected. Then I think becoming a consultant for the first time at the largest hospital and health service in the country when I was 30. That was pretty amazing. And then most recently taking that courageous step to return to North Queensland in the role that I now find myself in. I'm the first JCU medical graduate to reach level E as a staff member, let alone with this university, as well as the first local graduate to be in the role that I'm in. All of those are immensely proud points. I still also think that some of the proudest moments are still yet to come over these next few years, and I hope that will be really enjoyable. For people today embarking upon a career in health or in medicine or in clinical research, I think that the best advice to give is to be courageous, to make the right choices, and the right choices aren't always the easy choices, and I think to dream big. That there is a whole world out there of opportunity and things to do and places to be and people to work with and meet. Go and embrace that. I think that North Queensland will appropriately always be here waiting for those people to return, but go and embrace what's out there and bring those skills back to North Queensland. That's what my recommendation would be to them today, and I really look forward to hopefully more people realising that too over the next decades. I think it's always lovely to be recognised by the university you've primarily gone to for your base and really most fundamental degree. That is always just very important and special, I think, to anyone, and I'm sure many of the similar fantastic awardees in this year's round are likely to say very similar things. I think for me personally, it provides also a degree of closure because the career that I've chosen is one that's not especially typical, I don't think, for JCU graduates. I think this is a great way of signalling now that as this medical school, and it's a fantastic medical school, is embarking upon its now going into its third decade, that the outcomes of its graduates are diverse, are interesting, are doing all kinds of things. And this is a recognition that that diversity has a place in being celebrated by the medical school, in addition to some of the core themes that it's always had since its very beginning. So for me, it feels almost like finding my place again, where I never thought that that was going to be possible.